Hi, Scott Machine Gun Dad. I'm going to tell you another story. I think it's funny. You may not find it funny. I'm going to use the guy's name because it was in 1986 and he's probably in his 60s now. And if he can't laugh about it now, then shame on him. In June of 86, late June of 86, I transferred from Troop A Greensburg to Troop D Mercer. So my last month in Mercer, I'm sorry, my last month in Greensburg would have been the beginning of June after school was out. So we had a thing called a patrol check where, you know, if you had a business you called in, so you weren't happy, they'd just drive a car through the area. Well, there was a little plaza in West Hempfield Township that is a beauty shop, a candle shop. I don't remember exactly a vape shop. We didn't have vape shops back then. Maybe a stoner shop. The kids used to hang out there, and it killed the little old ladies didn't want to go get their hair cut when there was a bunch of teenagers hanging out. So that was a patrol check. So I got my patrol check, and we drove Chevy Malibus at the time. They were really small and really quick and really no top ends. So all the young guys got them because we used to prowl the back streets and stuff, back roads and up in like Ligonier and stuff. So I'm in my Chevy Malibu. I've got my patrol check. I've got 4 weeks left in Greensburg. So I'm just out driving around and I pull into West Hempfield and there's a silver Kawasaki motorcycle coming out. And I look over and the guy had a silver helmet and all I could see, he was a black kid, was this much of his face, right? And as I'm looking, he's looking at me and I'm looking at him and he's looking at me. Now we're going like right by each other at 5 miles an hour. And I looked down, and back then Pennsylvania used to put the inspection sticker on the left side on the rear fender on a motorcycle. This was 86, and the sticker on his bike was 79 or 80. So I'm thinking, I'm going to pull him over and give him a ticket for no inspection. So I have my window down because it's a beautiful day. I'm about to go to tell him to pull over, and I hear, oh no! And he just grabs a handful of throttle and he goes out, shooting out of the little road we were on, out onto the Harmony Road. Ah, crap. Hit the flippy flash, because we only had a little strobe light. Put it in reverse, called in. I'm in pursuit of a motorcycle. He makes a left, and I'm following him. And we're going down Wendell Harmony Road. Now, the Wendell Harmony Road goes to the right. It's a nice 2-lane state road. At the one intersection, there's a road that goes straight and it goes into a housing plan. In that housing plan, earlier that year, or about a year ago, is where I had that fatal I told you about. So I had already diagrammed that entire housing plan. Knew every road. So I'm thinking in my head, well, he's on a bike. He's going to hit the high speeds on the road we're on. And he makes a left onto the township road that goes straight out. And I'm like, well, maybe he'll lose me in the township road. Then he makes a left into the housing plan. I'm like, huh, he's toast. It's all cul-de-sacs. It's not going anywhere. So now I'm doing like 75, 80 mile an hour. We go into this corner and the road, this was actually the road where the accident happened. It goes down, it goes back up. It's summer, I told you I have my window down, so I can hear them running the gears, which is a big advantage, because when they start slowing down, you can hear it. You can hear the engine go, run, run, run. So, great special effects. So, I'm following this kid, and I can hear him slowing down, and I'm still gaining on him, and this is all happening at the same time. I'm calling it on the radio. I'm trying to get somebody to come help me. In my brain, I'm thinking, why is he slowing down? The roads don't go anywhere. If he turns left, there's 2 cul-de-sacs. They go up and they stop. And I'm like, yeah, maybe he's going to give up. So he turns left. I'm like, I got him. He's freaking toast. We go back to the end of the cul-de-sac. And I'm like, I'm on him. I'm maybe 30 feet behind him. I'm like, he's got to stop. The road ends. Well, at the end of this road, there is a asphalt walkway that goes up a hill and comes out on the playground of the school. He takes his motorcycle right up that thing, and I'm like, son of a bitch, I didn't even know that was there. And I just did a map of this place. Next to it were railroad ties that were cut into the wall to make like cheapo steps. or 6x6s. So I put the left wheels of the state car on the motorcycle path, and I put the right wheels of the state car on the steps, and I drove the car up the stairs. So I come flopping onto the playground. I'll take it, school's out, right? But there's still people there, and I'm looking, and like, well, there's people over here, and there's people over there, and he had gotten to the stop of the steps, thought he got away from me, and pretty much come to a stop. So when I come flopping up behind him, he turns around, and his eyes are this freaking big, right? So he goes down through the school, and he is trying to accelerate so hard. He's on a street bike, we're on grass. He's fishtailing, so I'm only going like 15 miles an hour across the playground to keep up with him. I'm like, he can't be this stupid. He's got to give up. He don't give up. He goes out of the school, back out to the Wendell Harmony Road where we were, but this time, instead of going on the road, he goes across the road, down into the weeds, that are 3 feet high. It's full-blown summer weeds, with a street bike. So I get there, and I'm following him on a dirt path, and he lays it down. I'm like, I get out, I run through the jagger bushes to get to him. He gets it back up, and he rides it down the creek bed. And I'm like, I'm done. I've had enough. So I go back in the car. I go back to where this all started, to the beauty shop, and call my corporal on the phone and say, Corporal, I just had this pursuit. He got away. I drove through the schoolyard and everything. He said, did you damage anything? I said, I don't think I did. He says, well, re-drive and make sure you didn't damage anything, because we got to do a report if you damage stuff. I'm like, okay. Hung up the phone. So I went over, and the only tracks in the grass were his, not mine, on the schoolyard. And then I went back down into where he went up through the skid. He skidded to the side, and I did skid this car sideways in the thing, but other than skid marks on the road, there wasn't anything there. And I had to answer the questions, where was the public and all that stuff. So anyway, I'm doing all this stuff, and I'm like, I am literally standing looking at the concrete, the asphalt that he went up into the playground. I'm like, where did this come from? 3 kids came up, and they said, that was the coolest thing we ever saw. I said, well, I really appreciate it, but I know this area pretty well, and I didn't know this path was here. Do you know who this person was? He obviously lives here. No, we don't know anybody. And I'm like, okay. So they start walking to the cul-de-sac and out. And I go out, and I call the radio, and I tell the station there's no damage. No, everybody says it's okay. Get in the car, and I start driving back out. And here comes one of the kids running back around the corner house. And he's going like this. And I still had my window down. He came up. He says, hey, kid's name is Darnell Redmond. He lives in the West Hempfield projects. So I said, hey, thanks. So I go to Darnell's house, knock on the door. His mom answered. Nice lady, really nice lady. I says, is this Darnell's house? And she says, yeah. I says, I'm Trooper Howard. Did you hear the siren and all that stuff? Yeah, I wonder what that was. That was me and Darnell. When he gets home, you should have him call me. Oh, okay. I don't think he's hurt, but I think his bike is probably going to be messed up. Oh, okay. So you think that's the end of the story, because Darnell calls me. I go out. His dad, you can tell his dad laid into him for being an idiot. And I think I wrote Darnell 18, 19 traffic tickets. He didn't have a license, he didn't have insurance, plus all the moving violations, plus the inspection, plus bald tires on the bike. I don't know how he ever did that. He didn't blow his tires out. All kinds of equipment violations. I wrote him. Now take into account, back then, fleeing and eluding was just a summary offense. It was not something you did a major criminal complaint. It was all done on tickets. End of the story. You think it's over, right? I transfer to Mercer in June. August or so, I get a call. Hey, you got to call Officer Shaw at North Huntington PD. Okay. So I called, my buddy, Jim, and he says, I got to tell you a story. And I says, oh, well, tell me a story. He says, I'm driving down Route 30 in my township, and I see an old Chevy. He told me what it was at the time, maybe a Nova, going the other way, and it's got a bad sticker on it. Now, at the time, Route 30, which was way different than it was 2 lanes, a suicide turn lane, and 2 lanes. He says, so I saw the guy coming, and I saw the kid, and he was looking at me, and then he'd look at the car, and he'd look straight ahead, and he'd look at the police car, and he'd look straight ahead. So they had what we call red and blues. So he says, I hit the red and blues, was ready to run with the kid because I knew he was going to run, and he pulled right over. So I just dropped in behind him, walked up, got his cards. And I says, you need to hear, and my buddy Jim tells me, he says, you need to hear what he said. And I said, okay, well, I'm on the phone, you got my attention. And he says, well, I walked back up to the kid after I wrote him the ticket. And he says, I actually wrote him a warning because he was only 28 days out. And he goes up to the kid and he says, well, I saw you looking at me. You saw me coming, right? And the kid says, yes, sir, I did. I did see you coming. I saw you looking at me. I knew you were going to pull me over. And he said, I saw you looking down the road. You were going to run, weren't you? He said, no, sir. I would never run. Nope, never run from the police. Why is that? He says, well, I live out in the West Hempfield projects, and I saw some crazy state trooper chase Darnell Redmond up a flight of stairs with a car. I will never run from the police again. There's my funny story. Thanks for coming to the channel.